Hello and welcome. It is Tuesday, the 20th day of June, 2017. Let's look at the technical analysis of the precious metals. We'll start off within the dollar index because it is very much related and tied to such. And within this, we can see within this downtrend market, first step to revert trend, go sideways, which included this interesting failed cattail breakdown, which rebounded. This interesting 3-period session where it rallied from there, red down candle consolidation, breakout to this previous resistance, and now it's breaking out again up to 97.86, and this big candle represents 1/3 of 1%, so it's thus in the state of establishing a level of resistance. At least that's how I see it. Everything in which how I see it or what I'm doing and everything I'm doing in precious metals is just accumulating mainly physical silver, is just that. Anything you do from this information, it's your own risk, own reward. This is do your own research, and you can use this as part of your research. But obviously, further momentum up, and usually this indicates that gold and silver would go lower when this is the case. Let's take a look at the silver market. And looking at this daily chart, let's talk about pattern recognition. And especially within these downtrends, every single one of them has been the same. Within this view of the chart, of course, going back to last November, as straight down then, straight down again in February, straight down again in April, and it's doing the same. I've already talked about these different patterns in here, how it was doing short-term price corrections, giving indications for further decline, and it continues to be the case. It's straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down movements, and how much further on the straight down to me is impossible to tell because it's already been down quite a bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if it had a nice straight down move like this and it makes a higher low in this area. But it also wouldn't surprise me even more that it keeps going down here. I wouldn't even be that surprised if it keeps going down in here, or for that matter, even further. Yesterday I showed the silver on the euro chart. It's got some huge down moves, and these markets, to say that they seem as if they're not a free market would be quite an understatement, to say the least. Let's move this on to a more shorter term time frame. And within the 4-hour time frame, this 18 level with the last few days has been major resistance, and it's been here. We can see in here, and the leaving of it down pretty much at this area of previous support, of obviously the downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. And I may also point out, I've talked a lot about failed moves, fast moves, and it's an extreme situation after this downtrend to have such a big green candle up move like this, and then to lose it fast and then regain the downtrend that preceded it. Failed breakout, fast move to the downside. There's another example of such. Within the weekly time frame, you're in a situation in which this is either going to be a failed breakout attempt. I mean, not as harsh as I've shown on the daily time frame, because this is standard band flattening out, establishing resistance, coming back to the band, but it has spent several sessions in this coming back to the band stage, as it is on number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 since it really first entered it in here. The resistance test of the band was just that. It resisted it, and really it's the second support test, having a weak one at the current moment within the 18 average of lows during this current move. So this level, this barely rising average, barely bullish, if you want to call it such, if it gives in, 18 average starts to go down, but that's because price action is heading below the 15.5 variable level. That would be an interesting situation, especially for people who want to turn cryptocurrencies of sorts into physical gold and or silver, because gold is probably going to go down as well. We'll show gold very soon. And that would mean not only would it be cheaper to buy on the dollar cost, but most likely with cryptos and trading going higher, that could mean substantial deals. So I was hoping to get around maybe 100 ounces of silver. Now it's going to be easy to get 160 or 170. Or now I'm definitely going to buy where I wasn't considering it. I think a lot of that would come into play. So myself, I mean, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. I welcome prices going lower because I realize that when the debt collapse burden comes in, and especially within the COMEX, wherever how the silver markets are being traded, when that Ponzi scheme actually gets exposed and it's like dwindling down and it's dying basically, and the silver gold markets escalate into, at least for a short period of time, a free market setting, then these prices don't matter, and able to get cheaper prices to me is always a good thing. But that's how I'm looking at it. And again, I don't care. I mean, I would even just rather it just start to go up again. And then the consensus of people will start to be like, oh, they'll start to know about silver. So, you know what? I'd almost rather it just start to go up now. But I mean, it's not like I'm going to do anything to control the market. Now looking at gold on its daily time frame. Very similar to the straight up, straight down kind of movements. As we figure in here, I mean, what correctionary moves were there? Very tiny here. And again, a similar tiny one. Better tiny one. A correctionary small one. And that was it. And then the next time it went below the band, there was not a single green candle day until the day of the bottom in here. So there was like nothing in here. And you could almost make the same case here, and we're pretty much making the same case here, that just since leaving the 18 average of lows on the declining period, it just keeps going down. No, even tiny ones. I mean, the best, you're going to get miscellaneous tiny ones on the 4-hour and 2-hour time frames within these movements. The best you're going to get is, oh, it just went up a third or a quarter of a percent within the declines. You're getting like hardly any moves within it, but it's clear, oh, point A, point B, and you can even count this, but as far as the big ones, since this point in here, you got a big high, big low, big high, big low, the big high, and the big high meaning so noticeable. Not that it's a big number, but it's just so noticeable. And whatever this low is going to be, if it does the same sort of thing, then it works out well. And this way, if you try to do the whole thing of, oh my goodness, it's time to go short in here, oh, you lose. Oh, time to go long in here, unless you know how to profit with that level. When you see those cases like that, these are what a choppy market would be defined as for me. However, within this particular market that's a little choppy, there still is this uptrend line, which is a fourth hit level. And the more often you test that level, the more likely it is you take it out. And then you have this resistance line, which was also tested 4 times as well, and it didn't take it out the 4th. So it's something else that other people may look at, but that's what the trend is, a choppy uptrend trying to get back into form. As this weekly time frame has a situation where, okay, you had this big noticeable high in here, and you don't even know if it's noticeable when you look at this because what happened before here. But nonetheless, the move from south of 14 down to north of 1,000 back in the end of 2015. Okay, so now in a situation, you've made a key high and a key low. What are you going to take out next? And I really I do this analogy quite often, or now and again. I have for quite some time, especially when, say, the market's here, because I know it's like somewhere near the middle of it. So it's got to break one side or the other. But really, until it does, it's kind of going to be neutral with a whole bunch of interesting patterns along the way of course, chances to pick away shorter term, because it's really only had one test of previous resistance, and it was a decent pierce below in here, and it has yet to test the 2016 lows. Although, of course, you see this big down move in here. So it's a lot of whatever in the middle of this, and you're going to have a whole bunch of crazy movements that can continue until it breaks it. And ultimately, you're going to be looking for breaks of key support and resistance in here, but unless you expand this time frame out, you're not going to know that much more. And within this monthly time frame, we can see that this isn't choppy by any means. This has got a very distinguishable, recognizable pattern. So those highs and lows we were talking about, well, we have obviously from this point, this high, which coincides huge within this level of resistance. This key support area, it's one level. I mean, it's pretty much big right now. And then you got this small level in here, but the entirety of this is a sideways correctionary move from one greater size move in here. And my views within what people would talk about manipulated markets and such is, I think they would, if they could, reduce this price much lower to what they could be, but they can't. Or because they are so able to put silver at extremely depressed prices, and they can do that, that's what they're doing. That's how I look at it, because there's such a big difference in the correctionary move of this particular gold chart to the silver same time frame weekly chart, which is still relatively bullish, and it's not choppy by any means. It's, you got your up move in the silver in here, very large correction in here, back to where it came from, and it's been settling in for a decent time from where it came from. And just like the gold area of sideways movement from the last point, that's what this is as well. So everything between relatively around 14 to up to about even 20 is nothing more than a sideways movement. Let's take a look now at the gold to silver ratio. Monthly time frame for the GSR is showing the pattern more that the declining prices in gold and silver could continue. And you have the situation with moving to this band from this move, breaking higher, probably maybe testing this area. Historically, this has been very much of a choppy chart over the last many decades. And historically, this thing was way down to 16-1. And I think even should be south of 10-1 in my opinion. I'm holding mainly silver, rarely holding gold. On the daily, the situation here where support, which was resistance, beautiful U bullish shape formation. This resistance level tested twice before. Test number 3 has been testing it for a while with an amazing bullish pattern. Fibonacci upside toward this. We got a high at around 75.60, a low at about 72.50. I'll be interested to see if a 77.60-ish area up target comes in if this breaks higher. Platinum, which on this daily is about as choppy and as it can be, probably even more choppy than the gold and silver. At least the gold and silver has straight up, straight down movements, making it a little better to figure out trading strategies if that's what you're looking for. But this one in here shows how it's riding this newly declining 18 average with heavy support in its current area. And when this baby goes, I wouldn't be surprised if it has about a 2.5% fall down to this at least previous twice hit area. Let's move on to Palladium. And let's finish it off here with, okay, I paused the tape. I know this sounded different, but let's do Palladium. And this resistance hasn't even been tested. Not even here it wasn't tested. Currently riding this rising 18, and you notice how platinum is with the same harmony with gold and silver. They're all down, up together. This does not have anywhere near the same rhythm, if you will. And of course, leaving this band, bullish behavior, more so leaving this resistance. And because I've stated that this area hasn't been tested, if there's any further decline, which would not be a surprise, I would be expecting there to be a decent chance some sort of decent bottom would come in here. Thank you for tuning in and have a good day.